Something about this case doesn't make sense. A man disappears. His truck is found abandoned. Hazard lights still blinking in the dark. Inside the vehicle, his phone, his wallet, everything exactly where it should be. Almost too perfect. But the most disturbing part? The person who reported him missing already knew what happened. And by the time investigators uncovered the truth, it revealed a betrayal far more terrifying than anyone expected. 2018. The quiet city of Rosario, Argentina, was about to witness a crime that no one saw coming. Alejandro Gutierrez was not the kind of man who vanished. He was dependable, predictable, the kind of person who followed the same routine every single day. For years, he worked as a long-distance truck driver, driving goods across highways, sleeping in truck stops, and returning home exactly when he promised. His family trusted that routine. His wife trusted that routine. And that is why, when Alejandro didn't come home one night, everyone immediately knew something was wrong. There was no call, no message, no explanation, just silence. Days later, police discovered his truck, abandoned, in an isolated parking lot near a highway. The hazard lights still blinking. Inside the cab, everything looked strangely perfect. His wallet, his phone, his documents, all neatly arranged. Almost too neat. It looked staged, like someone wanted the truck to be found, but not the truth. And investigators quickly realized this wasn't a disappearance. This was something far darker. Alejandro's life seemed simple. He had married Clara Martinez, a woman who had lived her entire life in Rosario. She worked at a local pharmacy. Quiet, reserved, someone neighbors described as polite, but distant. At first, their relationship looked normal, even stable. Alejandro earned good money as a truck driver. He saved carefully. Every month, a portion of his paycheck went into savings. He had dreams. A larger home, a quiet house outside the city, a garden, a place where he and Clara could build a peaceful life. But Clara was not dreaming about peace. As months passed, the quiet routine that comforted Alejandro began to suffocate her. Every evening looked the same. Television, dinner, silence. Then Alejandro would leave again for another trip. Days alone, weeks alone. And slowly, Clara began searching for something else. Something unpredictable. Something dangerous. Something exciting. And she found it online. At first, it was curiosity. Late-night browsing. Reading stories. Crime cases. Anonymous forums. People discussing secrets. Dark fantasies. And lives lived outside the law. But curiosity has a way of evolving. What started as fascination became obsession. Clara spent hours on these forums, talking to strangers, reading disturbing conversations, people who bragged about deception, manipulation, crime. And somewhere inside that digital world, Clara discovered something that thrilled her. A sense of power, a sense of escape. Meanwhile, Alejandro knew none of this. He kept working, driving thousands of kilometers across the country, providing stability for a future that only he still believed in. But while he focused on building their life, Clara was slowly building something else. A plan, one that would end his. Investigators would later discover that Clara had been communicating with someone online, a user known only by an alias, El Lobo Negro, the Black Wolf. Their conversations were hidden inside encrypted messages, carefully written, carefully erased. But fragments remained, references to meetings, money transfers, and something else. Alejandro's routine. The mysterious stranger knew details about the truck routes, the travel schedules, the nights Alejandro would return home. That information could only come from one place: his wife. Detectives now had a terrifying theory. Alejandro's disappearance might not have been random. It might have been planned, and Clara Martinez might have been the one planning it. Late June, Alejandro left for another routine delivery, Rosario, to Cordoba. 3 days, just another job. Before leaving, he called Clara. Their conversation sounded normal, nothing unusual, nothing suspicious. But that call would be the last time anyone heard Alejandro alive. On the evening he was supposed to return, his truck never reached home. His mother called. No answer. His employer called. Nothing. Then Clara called police, reporting her husband missing. She sounded calm, concerned, but strangely composed. Detectives noticed something unusual immediately. Clara didn't seem panicked. She seemed prepared. 2 days later, police found the truck, abandoned, hazard lights blinking. But something about the vehicle felt wrong. Forensic teams examined the cab, and they discovered something strange. It had been cleaned, meticulously, too clean. Even the most careful drivers leave something behind. Wrappers, dust, water bottles. But this truck looked sterile, like someone had erased the past. Then investigators found something else. Surveillance footage. A camera near the highway captured the truck, turning off the main road, heading down a dirt path, toward an abandoned farm. Police searched the location. At first, nothing. Just an empty property. But deeper inside the area, they found an old warehouse. And outside the warehouse, fresh tire marks. Someone had been there recently. Inside, they discovered a tarp, dark stains, and several plastic containers that smelled strongly of gasoline. Forensic tests confirmed it. The blood on the tarp belonged to Alejandro. At that moment, the missing person investigation became a murder investigation. Police intensified their investigation. Phone records, bank transactions, online messages, and everything kept leading back to one person, Clara. Her accounts showed large transfers of money sent to anonymous digital wallets. Detectives traced those wallets to the mysterious online contact, El Lobo Negro. His real name, Diego Pereira, a man with a criminal past, fraud, theft, and now suspected murder. When police arrested Diego, he refused to talk at first, but the evidence kept mounting. His fingerprints were found on the gasoline containers inside the warehouse. His phone records placed him near the crime scene. And finally, after hours of interrogation, Diego broke. And what he confessed revealed a plan far more calculated than investigators imagined. Months before Alejandro disappeared, Clara contacted Diego online. She offered him money, a large amount, in exchange for one thing: removing her husband. Her motive was simple: money, Alejandro's savings, his bank accounts, and a life she no longer wanted. So together, they designed the perfect trap. On the day Alejandro disappeared, Clara sent him a message. Her car had broken down. She needed help. Alejandro didn't hesitate. He changed his route immediately, driving to a quiet industrial road near the warehouse. When he arrived, he saw Clara standing beside a car, the hood raised, looking helpless. Alejandro stepped out of his truck, walking toward her, but he never saw Diego, hidden behind the vehicle, waiting. As Alejandro approached, Diego stepped forward, swinging a metal bar. The blow struck the back of Alejandro's head. He collapsed instantly, unconscious, but still alive. And what happened next was brutal. Diego and Clara transported Alejandro to the warehouse. When he began regaining consciousness, Diego attacked again, this time with a knife, multiple strikes to the chest. Alejandro died on the warehouse floor. They wrapped his body in a tarp, trying to contain the blood. Their original plan was to destroy the remains using chemicals, but the process proved too difficult, too slow. So instead, they dismembered the body, hiding the remains inside the warehouse walls and debris. Then they returned to Alejandro's truck. Diego drove. Clara sat beside him, stopping briefly at a gas station to clean the vehicle. A witness later remembered seeing them: a man driving, a woman in the passenger seat. That memory would become a key piece of evidence. Finally, they abandoned the truck, hazard lights blinking, a carefully staged disappearance. And Clara returned home, pretending to be the worried wife. But the truth was already closing in. The trial shocked Argentina. Prosecutors revealed the entire plot: the messages, the money transfers, Diego's confession, and the horrifying details of the crime. In the courtroom, Alejandro's family sat in silence. His mother, barely able to look at the woman who once called herself their daughter-in-law. The verdict was inevitable. Clara Martinez was sentenced to life in prison, no possibility of parole. The mastermind behind the murder, Diego Pereira, received 25 years after cooperating with investigators. But for Alejandro's family, no sentence could undo the damage. One man's life ended because greed and manipulation replaced human compassion. And the quiet city of Rosario would never forget how a seemingly ordinary marriage hid a carefully planned and cold-blooded murder. Cases like this remind us of something unsettling. Sometimes the truth hides in plain sight. A normal life, a normal marriage, a normal routine, until one moment changes everything. But this case is not the only one where trust turned into betrayal, because in another investigation, a husband vanished under circumstances even more mysterious. And when police finally discovered what happened, the truth shocked an entire town. If you think this story was disturbing, wait until you see the next one.